Hey, what's up guys? Today we'll be drawing Megaman X. And in this short video tutorial, I'll be going over the step-by-step of how to create this Megaman X drawing from start to finish. If you're just interested in watching the speed drawing video, you can go ahead and click on the info card now. Make sure you check out the video chapters in the description below to preview all the steps or to skip to the chapter that interests you the most. And if you already like the finished drawing you see here, feel free to hit like and subscribe. Now let's take a look at the materials we need for this drawing. You're going to need a medium point black marker, a fine point black marker, a pencil, an eraser, and some color pencils. So the colors I have here with me is a gray and a black for all these black parts of the armor. Okay? I'm also using the black to punch out some of the darkest areas in the armor, like this area and that area, and that area. Next we have the blue and the dark blue for all the blue parts on the armor. Also on the arm and leg, blue and dark blue. Then we have a peach tan and a brown tan for the face. It's the only part that has skin. And then we have a yellow and an orange for all these gold pieces on the armor. Last but not least, we have a red and a dark red brown for these red parts on the armor. And that gem on the top, including the top, okay? Alright, so throughout the whole video I'll be doing a lot of speed drawing, so if you're following along, feel free to hit pause whenever you have to catch up with me, okay? Are you ready? Let's get started. Alright, so now before we start our drawing, let's take a look at a reference picture of Megaman X, okay? And see what shapes and forms we can use to help us create this drawing. Okay, so human figure, we'll be using stick figuring, and then form figuring, and then claw figuring. So for claw figuring, it's pretty much Megaman's armor. But let's take a look at stick figuring. So if we were to draw this character as a stick figure, let me do it right over here, okay? So we got a circle for the head, we put in a cross to indicate the orientation of the head, and then another circle for the torso, smaller circle for the hips, and then the legs come out. One leg comes out this way to the knee joint, comes down, foot, then the other leg comes down, knee joint, okay, the other foot, got two shoulder joints, okay, the other arm, okay, so pretty much that will be like the stick figure. And then for Megaman X, the proportion wise, the head is a little bit bigger. So we're looking at about like a 5 head proportion instead of a 6 head proportion, okay? And then a form figure, you know, will be at like making it thicker, making the legs thicker. And last but not least, the claw figure, which is the armor. We're going to add in the blast cannon, the shoulder pads, whatnot. And that will be pretty much our basic shapes and form step, okay? Now lighting wise, lighting is coming from top left down to the bottom right. Why do I know that? Because the highlights are here. Here, generally in the upper left direction towards the bottom right. Okay, so we got shadow here on the bottom right. That's why we know the lighting direction generally is coming down from top left. Okay, so now we have enough information to start our drawing. Let's get to it. So we're going to start with stick figuring. Okay, so we have our stick figure. Let's double check again. So we have circle for the head, comes down to another circle for the torso, comes down to another circle for the hip. Okay, so I indicated where the thigh connects to the hips, and then the thigh's gonna come out this way to the knee joint, and then come down to the foot. Okay, very big foot. The other leg as well. You know, this is where the thigh connects to the hip, comes down to the knee joint, and then comes down to the foot. Okay, arm as well. So this is the shoulder joint where the shoulder pad will go later on. Comes down, comes out to the hand. Okay, so this is the elbow joint. That's the hand. Okay. Or where it's going to be where the cannon will be later on. So shoulder joint again comes down to the elbow joint, comes out to the other hand. Alright, so that's our stick figure. So next step, I'm going to add some form to the stick figure. So the legs will be thicker, the arms will be thicker, checking like the form proportion, anatomy with the original reference picture. Okay, and let's start. Okay, so this is our form figure. You can see even without a lot of the details or the armor pieces, the paneling of the armors, we can already see that this is Megaman. You can see just the proportion of the form, like how thick these calves are, you know, how big these fists are, you know, the proportion, the 5 head proportion Now, a lot of people, when they look at this form figure, they would immediately know, like, hey, that's gotta be Mega Man. So very important to double check your proportion in the form figure stage. So next stage is the clothes figuring. Now, Mega Man has no clothes, it's just a bunch of armors. So in this stage, we'll be drawing a lot of armors, the shoulder pads, and the major key areas just to mark off where these pieces of armor are. Okay? So let's do that. Okay, so now we have all the basic shapes and form complete. So it's like a rough sketch of what's coming next. Okay, so at this stage, feel free to go back and forth, feel free to erase, feel free to fix anything you don't like, feel free to look back and forth from the reference image, because remember, we're not trying to create our new Mega Man this time. It's your first time drawing Mega Man. Let's learn how to draw Mega Man X correctly. And after you learn how to draw him correctly, next time you can go on an adventure and creating your own version of Mega Man. Okay, so this is the stage where you can grab your eraser, fix anything you don't like, start tweaking here and there as long as you want. Why? Because everything is rough. See how I draw everything very lightly, and none of the lines are definitive. They're all super rough and blurry lines. But the reason is because I don't want to commit to any lines at this stage. The next step, when I start refining the drawing, then I will commit. Then I'll make the lines more definitive. Then I'll draw harder. Okay? So at this stage is because for the changes. Okay? You want to adjust. You want to make sure you like the anatomy. You like the composition. You like what you're looking at. Okay? So if you don't like what you're looking at, and then you go on and start refining it, and then you realize, wait, my proportion's off. Oh, wait, that is off. Oh, this area is off. But you already have a lot of refined details drawn in. And it's kind of too late to change everything, because then you gotta erase a bunch of stuff, and you're gonna start stressing out and kind of grow tired of the drawing before you even finish it. Okay, so that is the worst thing you want. So at this stage, fix everything, because next step when we go into detailing, it's just gonna be a breeze. It's just gonna be fun. It's just gonna be you adding in all those crazy details to give yourself a good time. Okay, so like I said, double check as much as you want. If you're happy with it, you're okay with it, you sure you're good, let's start refining. Okay, see now that we have a refined drawing, it feels like the rough sketch doesn't even exist anymore. Because when you have your more definitive line drawn in, the definitive line will cover up all the rough sketch, and it's like you don't see it. So in the beginning you're drawing rough, very blurry lines, but let's just say in these rough lines, you found exactly where you need your definitive line to be. You can start drawing harder. Okay? That's how you see a real line work emerge from the paper. Alright, so the next step is to trace the pencil line work with a marker. The trick here is to keep rotating your paper, and remember that you don't have to finish a very long line with one take. You can break it up with smaller line segments. Just make it look continuous. Let me show you what I mean. So let's just say I'm drawing this line right here for the leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it took me 4 lines, 4 strokes to complete that one continuous line, but it's okay. If you try to do it all in one take, you might mess up and it's just not going to be in the right place. Okay? So now before I begin tracing, if you enjoyed the tutorial so far, remember to hit like and subscribe. It is the biggest appreciation I can get from you guys. Okay, so now let's start tracing. Okay, so now we have finished tracing the pencil line and clean it up. Remember, when you erase, hold down the paper with your other hand, okay? So that you don't damage your paper, okay? So sometimes you erase too hard, you can make a couple of wrinkles. That's bad. Okay, so next step is coloring. Most objects you see will have highlight, midtone, and shadows. Now, on white paper, we can overlay colors to make it look darker, but we can't really overlay colors to make it lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate where my highlight areas are, and I'm going to leave it uncolored. Then I'll color everything else in the midtone, and then come back with a shadow color to overlay on top of the midtone. And it's going to have a really nice effect. A lot of times for highlight areas, especially using color pencil and drawing on paper, I'll leave the highlight areas white. It's because the white highlights will make it more noticeable, and your form will look more dimensional. And if I do color in the highlights areas, it will probably be last, and it'll probably just be a thin layer of the midtone color. Now, because we have a lot of like kind of metal metallic surface on Megaman X, that's why I won't be using, instead of like a soft highlight coloring, I will be using like a hard edge somewhere like right here with the reflections here and there, like right there. Like I'll be drawing those reflections with a hard edge instead of like a soft highlight. Okay, I'm leaving those white. Okay, all right. So let's get started. I'm going to start with either like the lightest color or the smallest area, so probably the yellow, and then I'm going to go to like the red, the blue, and the black. Okay. Okay, so now we have all the midtone in there. Let's take a look at shadow. So as you can see, some of the highlights that I left out, it's already begin to start popping out the character. But after we put in the shadow, it's really going to start popping out. Okay, so you see like all the shadows. Some of these shadows, because the way the artist interpreted this drawing, he kind of used like a cell shading effect, which is like flatten out all the shadows. But in real life, there's form shadow and cast shadow. So I probably will turn some of these hard edge shadows into kind of like a form shadow. It'll give it like a more soft edge. But there definitely is also cast shadow. If you see like this shadow right here, it's casted from the helmet. Okay. So I'll be doing like gray, use gray for the shadow part of the white area, use dark blue for the blue, and so on. Okay. So let's just put in the shadow and see how it goes. See how after we put in the shadow, the whole character is popped out so much better? Because when you combine highlight, midtone, and shadow together, your shapes will read as 3D forms instead of 2D shapes. And now I know this looks pretty awesome already, but we're going to make it look even better by making the profile lines thicker. Now the profile lines are the outermost borderline of a character. So like the arm, the legs, the head. Now the silhouette of this character is, it's pretty like, it's pretty clear already. But there's still some areas that by punching out the profile line will read better. For example, after we thicken the profile line, you'll be able to read that the knee is in front of the arm a lot better. Okay, so let me show you how it works. Alright, so this completes our Megaman X drawing. I hope you guys enjoyed this drawing tutorial. Let me know in the comments below what we should draw next, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, drawing is like playing the piano. You can have the best instructor and the best music sheet in front of you. You might even know the music very well. But it is only through practice that you will get better and become what you want to be. The whole point of my videos is to provide a side-by-side training for you on a daily basis, like riding a bicycle. I might have to hold your bike for you in the beginning, but just keep drawing and practicing in the right direction, and before you know it, you'll be ready. And I'll see you next time for more exciting drawings.